With several overpowered Pokemon being introduced in Scarlet and Violet, how about I try to beat the game with just one tiny little weed cat in hopes of keeping all 4 legs on the floor. Years ago, I set out to beat Pokemon Emerald with just one Mudkip, and it's all been downhill ever since. Solo runs aren't usually a question of how, but rather why. We're not going to focus on these stats or anything like that, but who doesn't love an arbitrary set of rules with a whimsical win condition? I streamed this run alongside several other challenges on twitch.tv/Alpharad, so hey, check it out at the end of the video because I'm probably live right now doing something even worse. And if that's not your thing, at least subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Anyways, our journey started out by creating the ideal Sprigatito trainer, who I appropriately named Mary Jane. Ironically enough, I decided to ban all drugs from this run. But when she picked out her starter, I feel like the director probably had expectations of her using at least one other Pokemon, but no. This is fine. Nimona caught a whiff of what this team was cooking and immediately tried to combat it. And after I did a bit of research, this Foliage Fiend gets an insane move pool. Seed Bomb, Shadow Claw, Play Rough, Hone Claws, Acrobatics, and U-Turn. That is an insane moveset for an uninvolved Pokemon. So, this might just be possible. Especially since we get to use Terrestrialization to change up our typings alongside Weedcat's hidden ability of Protean. But more on that later. I then learned how to not catch a Pokemon, saved the Cock Dragon with the ham sandwich, and grinded just a tiny bit before battling Nimona for the second time in the past 2 minutes. Believe it or not, it is not that hard to defeat the Water-type Pokemon as the Grass-type Pokemon. Also, I know this seems superficial, but purchasing the Sprigatito phone case here was absolutely essential for this run. But then when Mary Jane tried to find some other clothes... Well, that's a new one. In the first couple team star battles, nothing of interest really happens since we're still in the tutorial and this thing is like supposed to be little. But trust me, it gets a bit harder. So after mashing the A button approximately 906 times, the world finally opened up and it was now time to head straight towards the first gym. On paper, this sounds like a bad idea to throw our grass starter into a gauntlet of one of its 5 type weaknesses. But if you think that, you're not seeing the full picture here. After trekking across the entire map, wait, is that a shiny? God damn it. Huh. Oh well. This is where the gym is, and this is where I'm currently at, aka in the entirely incorrect direction. But I needed to find the TM for Acrobatics, one of the best flying type moves in the entire game that this house cat can learn, because sure, I guess? So after playing Smoliv Soccer and proving my worth to Katie, it was time to throw out Weedcat into a seemingly bad matchup. But again, only if you don't know. This ability patched Protean will always change our typing into the first move that deviates from our grassy nature. So in short, simply using a flying type move makes our cat legally a flying type. Yeah. So now, hopefully you see where this is going. In the past, solo runs typically boil down to massively overleveling and spamming one good move, but with the utility from Terra types to Protean and an insane move pool on top of it all, this tiny little kitty makes for one of the most interesting solo runs imaginable, especially since I have to deny its natural metamorphosis, and if I had to guess, it probably hurts. Oh, and before I move on to the next section, can I talk about today's sponsor, Dislight? You can step into a vibrant world of urban mystic comics with a stylish turn-based mobile game. Dislight introduces you to a vast array of espers, extraordinary individuals who draw their powers from the gods of ancient mythologies, from Japanese, Chinese, Norse, Greek, and even more. What makes Dislight even more engaging is its ongoing series of urban myth comics. It lets you dive deeper into the stories of your favorite espers and encounter gods in unexpected forms. And right now, you can join in this exciting limited time event, Endless Summer. Join the radiant Chinese god Jiao Tu on what begins as a beautiful summer day and takes an unexpected turn of events. And as the story unfolds, you get to be a part of it. So what are you waiting for? Join the community of like-minded players, experience the ongoing series of urban myth comics, and partake in the Endless Summer event. You can play Dislight today and forge your own legendary path by clicking the link in my description or scanning the QR code on screen to download Dislight right now. And don't forget to use the code FIGHTWITHGODS to unlock 5 free draws and receive massive in-game rewards. Fight with Gods, fight for infinite possibilities. Anyways, given that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are just glorified boss rushers and incredible for challenge runs because of that, I drove straight to the second gym in hopes of pulling out yet another gimmick. So Brassius opens with some weaker grass babies, and for this battle, Weecat turns into a flying type and spams acrobatics yet again. And yep, yet again on small of 2. But given that this is an incredibly well-designed fight, this grass type Sudowoodo has Rock Throw to serve as coverage for the common flying and fire type moves. So let's just turn back into a grass type before Brassius can adapt to what we're doing here, since Weecat easily tanks any hit this way. And with a swift quick attack, Mary Jane cleans up the fight and secures a second badge by spamming the same move across 2 gyms. Becoming a bit impatient about the slow-ass bike situation here, I took a detour from Victory Road to challenge a Titan before finding myself in Mary Jane's natural habitat to make a sandwich. Normally Iono is the next gym leader here, but I honestly didn't have a single strategy on how to deal with her yet. And since level caps aren't really a thing in this kind of run and the world is technically open, I just strolled across the map to visit the 4th gym next, since my grassy Weecat should easily sweep through everything that town has to offer, including a new beanie, because come on, let's be honest now. And despite going the completely wrong way, Nemona still tracked me down like the part-time stalker she is. So I just popped the Terra Grass right from the start and removed her entire team out of existence, given the fact that the cat might be a bit over-leveled at this point. This is an insanely overpowered Pokemon for what this challenge is supposed to be. Like, what kind of parent would let a child do these kinds of things? When it came to actually fighting Kofu though, the gameplay was pretty brain dead, even compared to the other gyms. Grass be water, so make grass hit hard. Just like that, we got the 4th badge 3rd, so let's go back and get the 3rd badge 4th now, I think. And no, you still can't evolve. But before I tackled Iono, I decided to fight a few random trainers in this random route, because apparently if you do, they give you an Eviolite, which is a legal way of cheating. So it's now time to storm through Iono with being massively overleveled, having a ridiculous move pool, having an unnecessary Eviolite, and ultimately just being better at the game than her. I mean, it's not like I've lost other runs here before. No. 4 badges down, 4 to go. But tragically enough, the next obstacle in my path is the People's Champion, Larry. Not only does my chat love him, but they constantly root for my downfall every single time I enter this gym. Knowing that Larry always opens up with the normal type Kamala who only knows normal type moves in his normal type gym, I had an idea. Yeah, another idea that required me to venture off towards the other side of the map, but this team of Shadow Claw grants Sprigatito a near guaranteed victory. See, if I open up with this move, despite it not connecting, it'll still change Weecat's typing to Ghost due to Protean. Again, despite it not actually dealing any damage at all. So now, all this Kamala can do is use Yawn as Weecat spams Hone Claws and fights through a rare sleeping disorder until becoming a +6 attacker ready to strike Larry's entire team down, since they can barely even touch this technically legal Ghost. And that's the story on how Mary Jane collected her 5th gym badge. But I think you're starting to see that this is a solo run that features a surprisingly fun amount of strategy. At least more than Mudkip hit good, Piplup take drugs. And after that fight, Nemona swiftly turned around to run it back, and despite seed bombing her entire team to hell and back, her Quaquaval unfortunately just barely held on and caused the first wipe of the run somehow. Back in the Mudkip run, I was willing to rematch the most difficult trainers as many times as I needed to, but apparently when it comes to fighting Nemona, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. So maybe that was just a time save after all? Is it too late to say that that was actually intentional? Given how Scarlet and Violet's move relearner works, this run is heavily benefited from rotating through the same 6 moves depending on the fight. But that does not help with the 6th gym that's decorated with exclusively double battles, and we only have 1. Wait, what the fuck? In these fights, Weecat 2 typically spawns in their dying breath since they're still level 1 and in the very wrong place. All Weecat Senior has to do in these fights is use an over-leveled Shadow Claw on every target in their path, and if I can be honest, you just kinda keep doing that until you find yourself a new gym badge. And if you want even more honesty, you can do that to find yourself a 7th gym badge too. But this is when the run starts developing some actual issues. So let's talk about what's left in our path. First up, we're not even done with the gym leaders yet. Grusha is still standing in our path as strong and fabulous as ever, with 4 fully evolved Ice-type Pokemon against an unevolved Grass starter. this isn't looking very good. Beyond that, yeah, we might beat Rika in the Elite Four, but how the hell am I supposed to get through the wall of Poppy, the strength of Hassel, and the blatant height disadvantage of fighting Larry for the second time? After spending a good while weighing my options, I came across a fairly simple solution. What if we changed Weedcat's Terra type? Being able to switch into a whole new type altogether would be huge, as it opens up new strategies, especially with a move like Terra Blast. But first, in order to do this, you have to collect Terra shards, and to do that, you have to do Terra raids. So if you know about this process, or God forbid have done it yourself, please give me the number of your therapist, because this shit sucks. Oh, but at least this process has to be fast, right? No, it's not. It took me 2.5 hours to collect 50 shards, and that's just for one Pokemon. I could not even imagine doing this for a full team, but hey, would you look at that? A fighting type Weedcat made to dismantle Grusha's each and every Pokemon while finishing off at level 69. So after studying what was up ahead, it was now time for Sprigatito to punch through Paldea's Elite Four, starting with Rika. Luckily, her first Pokemon is quad weak to grass, and somehow even this unit got one shot. Yeah, somehow. Unfortunately, I had to take a poison jab from Donphan and a sandstorm from Dugtrio, but at least Clodsire can realistically be taken out with one Seed Bomb, right?
Oh, okay, wait. Okay, actually, if I die to this earthquake, it matters. It absolutely matters. I might die to this earthquake. I would say I likely die to this earthquake.
Yet again, I remain somehow unpunished, but now it's time for Poppy, an absolute stone wall for our tiny little cat. All of her Pokemon are defensive tanks, and she is one of the main reasons why I even went with a fighting type in the first place. My whole strategy surrounding this battle was to just spam Terra Blast, and despite being terrified of this battle, yeah, it was really that easy, huh? Next up was Larry, and I was not prepared at all for this team. I moved some attacks around and merely prayed, as I didn't have a single super effective move against flying types, but that wasn't going to stop me just yet. Even though acrobatics would deal more damage, I used Play Rough first to wear the fairy typing, and trust me, it'll make sense. When it came to his Brave Bird spamming Staraptor, I'll be honest, I just heal stalled and watched him die to recoil. I mean, hey man, I have one Pokemon. Just let me have this one. Given that our last opponent before the champion is a Dragon Tamer and our little cat is fully capable of spamming Play Rough, this was gonna be a piece of cake. Scratch that. Next time, it was gonna be a piece of cake by spamming Play Rough against every single dragon in my path until I missed a single time! So on take 3, everything magically worked out, and it was finally time for our Cushkin to challenge the champion of Paldea, Geeta. She opened with a Spathra, and tragically, there is no possible way to avoid the incoming Lumina crash that essentially puts us on life support against any future special attacking move. So I decided it was best to go Ghost and take her out with one single Shadow Claw. And naturally, the Dark-type Pokemon comes out now. But that is exactly what I wanted her to do. So now Sprigatito gets to transform into a fighting type and punch Kingambit harder than the frame drops. Luckily, simply spamming U-turn got me through Go-Goat, and then another Shadow Claw took down Veluza. Her Avalugg did get the best of us and left Weedcat hanging on with a measly 10 HP. A few Terra Blasts later, and Avalugg was out of the picture for good. So all that was left was her anchor, Glimmora, which would absolutely be stronger as a lead, but that's a rant for a different day. Knowing that we were a simple turn away from victory, I waited in the wings for Glimmora to finish terrestrializing and punish this shining rock with a fighting Terra Blast that slayed the stone behemoth in one fell swoop. And just like that, Sprigatito became the sole crowned ruler of Paldea, and who knows what I ended up doing. I'm probably live right now at twitch.tv/Alpharad doing something equally awful. Who knows?